Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. I'm Hirandadia. Overall, if you see in terms of markets, after 7 to 8 consecutive sessions of decline, there is some respite that is coming in. And if you see Nifty, we've surged above the 17,450 levels. 500 points up move is what we're seeing in terms of Sensex as well. And Bank Nifty is nearing 40,700 levels. So clearly there is some bit of an, uptick that's coming in today's session. But whether this is sustainable or not, and what would this actually mean? To discuss with us on the show today, we have Nilesh Jain, Head VP Technical and Derivative Research at Centrum Broking. Welcome to the show, Nilesh, and a pleasure to speak to you.
Very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Nilesh, my first question coming to you overall is ahead of the weekly expiry, right? On the options front, 17,400 along with 17,500 calls strike are cumulatively holding more than 23 million shares. So yes, there is an upside, but do you think that the upside is limited basis what's happening on the option front?
Well, absolutely. Well, if you look at the derivative setup, interestingly, we have seen some positive development in today's trading session. The put writers have got active at 17,400 strike, fresh more than 2 lakh contracts were added in today's trading session. That shows that we may not slip below 17,400 on immediate basis. Looking at the weekly expiry tomorrow, there could be possibility of some sort of a short covering move that will be seen if at all Nifty surpasses 17,500 mark decisively. Post then only we can expect a further momentum. But as of now, it looks like the upside is capped near about 17,500 and support is at 17,400. So that's precisely 100-point trading range for the Nifty index. Any decisive breakout above 70,500 will open upside for 17,600 to 17,650. Interestingly, we are getting more conviction from the Bank Nifty space. Looking at the overall setup, we can expect Bank Nifty to outperform going forward.
Right. So overall, what are the levels according to you we should be watching out for in terms of Nifty from here on as resistance and support?
See, as far as resistance is concerned, the major make or break level for the bank for the Nifty is at 17,700. It needs to reclaim 17,700 for any sort of short-term base formation, and I would rather say a short-term bottom formation for the Nifty index. It is important to take out 17,700 levels on the higher side. On the lower side, yesterday Nifty made a low near about 17,255. So that's precisely should be the stop loss for all the long position in the spot levels. And as long as Nifty trades and defend yesterday's low, we can expect this pullback to continue towards 17,500 on immediate basis, and post then 17,600 to 17,650 are the levels to be watched out for on the high side.
Right. And similarly on the Bank Nifty as well, clearly, if you see the futures OI, that is continued to witness an OI build-up, right? However, if you see the options data as well, that's somewhere indicating a range-bound activity. So what direction are you expecting Bank Nifty to take?
In last 3 consecutive sessions, Bank Nifty has shown resilience, and in fact, it has outperformed the Nifty index. Looking at the setup of the few private sector bank counters like Axis Bank specifically, where we have seen huge amount of outperformance, and the momentum looks very strong. So we may see outperformance to continue the Bank Nifty, as I mentioned earlier. On the higher side, the immediate level that we are watching out for is 41,000 in the spot. And post breakout above 41,000, we can expect further short covering move to continue, because even if you look at the derivative data, 41,000 has meaningful open interest on the call side. So that needs to be taken off decisively for any sort of fresh short covering move to continue on a high side. At the same time, on the lower side, the psychological level support level is placed at 40,000. From entire point of view, the support has slightly shifted higher towards 40,200. So these are the two important support level, 40,000 and 40,200. And as long as Bank Nifty trades above that, we can expect further momentum to continue on the high side. So we have a slightly positive outlook on the Bank Nifty.
Right. So that's with regards to Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. One sector which has seen a good rebound is in terms of the metal space. In fact, that's one of the top gaining sectors as well in today's session. And stocks like a Tata Steel, Nalco, both of them are up in trade, and good amount of open interest build up that we are seeing as well on both these counters. What's the sense that you pick up, and what would you advise an investor to do?
We need to look at the broader structure first. So broader structure for the Nifty Metal Index is looking slightly on a negative side. So after falling in last 3 consecutive sessions, this is merely a pullback that what we are witnessing currently. And this pullback may extend further towards 5,600 to 5,800. That's the Nifty Metal Index. On the lower side, the support, I would rather say a base has built up at 5200. So in this kind of pullback, the stocks that may lead the rally are Jindal Steel and Power. That's particularly one stock that we are liking from the metals pack. And in fact, if you look at the broader structure of this particular counter, it has been one of the outperformers from the metal phase. And the momentum looks strong, and it may test the levels of 600 to 620 going forward. So fresh long position can be built, and it is better to wait for some sort of a decline to get into JSPL with a stop loss below 550. And the other stock that you have highlighted, Tata Steel. See, today we are witnessing a short covering. More than 10% OI has been built up. So clearly, it's a short covering candidate. And going forward, we can expect a further, pullback to continue towards 107 to 110. But the major structure is not that convincing. So I would rather go with the Nalco Steel Authority or maybe Jindal Steel and Power.
Right. So that's with regards to metal names overall. Taking into consideration the PSU banking space now, PNB, again, a good move in today's session. Open interest addition is also what we're seeing. Whereas if you see in terms of where IDFC First Bank goes, similar kind of a trend. Bank of Baroda, the stock is up and we are seeing some bit of open interest shedding that's happening on that counter. How would you view these three counters?
Well, all these three counters, we have a positive outlook, barring PNB. In fact, if you look at the Nifty PSU banking space chart, we have seen, no doubt, we have seen a lower top and lower bottom formation. But looking at today's reversal, it looks like there is a short-term base formation which is going on in the Nifty PSU banking space. 3600 is the major support. On the higher side, this pullback may extend towards 3900 to 4000. This pullback may led by State Bank of India. Particularly, we have a positive outlook, and our target on the higher side is very much intact of 600. So that's the immediate target that we can expect. So at current level, the risk and reward is very much favorable, and one can clearly initiate a long position at current level as well. With a stop loss below 500, upside target is of 600. The other PSU banking space name that you have highlighted is Bank of Baroda. Certainly, this particular counter is also looking positive for the upside target of 170 to 175 from a trading point of view. One can keep a stop loss below 156. Lastly, IDFC First Bank, we have seen some sort of a consolidation in this particular counter. Now, looking at last 4 to 5 consecutive sessions, we have witnessed a strong reversal, and this pullback may extend further towards 57 to 58. So that's the immediate target that one can look for. Since we are talking about IDFC First Bank, I just want to highlight IDFC Limited as well, because this particular counter is forming is trading in a rising channel, and currently it has rebounded from its lower end of the channel. So risk and reward again look favorable for IDFC Limited as well, and upside is open for 82 to 85.
Right. Moving on in terms of an Ambuja Cement as well, the stock is up, good open interest addition that we're seeing on this counter. Would you advise a buy at current levels?
Certainly, yes. Looking at the overall structure, we have already seen a carnage, and currently in last 2 weeks, we have witnessed some sort of a consolidation. Rather, I would say a base formation is happening. And out of all the Adani counters, I think this particular counter is looking slightly on a positive side. And we can expect this pullback to continue towards 380 to 400. We are not expecting any major trend reversal on immediate basis, but yes, this pullback may extend further towards 380 to 400. And stop loss should be kept below 335. From a trading point of view, I think it's a good level to make a fresh entry.
Right. One more banking counter that just came to me right now is two banks, Federal Bank as well as the RBL Bank. Strong move in today's session. Open interest change is also pretty strong as compared to the previous day. What do you make of these two counters?
I think you are talking about Central Bank, and which was the other bank you mentioned?
Federal Bank and RBL.
Okay. So Federal Bank, extremely positive setup, and in fact, it is one of the counter that we are liking very much. The major setup looks positive. The upside is very much open for 150 sort of target, slightly from a position perspective. After surging more than 4% in today's trading session, it's not advisable to go long. I think better wait for some sort of a profit booking. Post then it can be bought for the upside target of 150. Keep a slightly broader perspective in the mind, and keep a stop loss below 128. The outlook looks very much positive. The other counter is RBL Bank, is not looking that promising, but yes, this pullback may extend further towards 165 to 170. But looking at the volatility, I would rather go with Federal Bank or maybe Axis Bank. These are the counters that are looking more convincing to me.
Right. Moving on, there is some bit of pressure that's building in terms of an SBI Life as well as an HDFC Life. What are charts indicating for both these counters?
Well, outlook for insurance space is not looking that promising. We have already witnessed a sort of setback post budget, and the major structure has turned slightly on a negative side, specifically for the HDFC Life. Any pullback may get sold into, so it is better to avoid taking any contrabet for the time being, unless and until somebody has a time horizon of more than 1 year. But purely from a trading point of view, I think it is better to stay away. Even if somebody wants to make a fresh entry, keep a stop loss below 475, and one can play for a pullback towards 500 to 510. SBI Life comparatively looking slightly better compared to HDFC Life, and one can keep a stop loss below 1080 for any sort of long position. We might see some sort of pullback towards 1150 to 1170. But majorly, I would rather stay away from the insurance space for the time being.
Right. Moving on, overall, you have innerwear companies like Rupa, Dollar, Lux, all these three counters are seeing very good gains in today's session, up in the range of almost around 5 to 15%. Do you see further strength, or do you think this is just a one-off that we're seeing?
Exactly, this seems to be one-off, because usually we see this kind of move occasionally, and the major structure, if you look at specifically for the Rupa, after hitting highs of 575 in the month of May 2022, we have seen a continuous decline and formation of a lower top and lower bottom. Now, this pullback, what we are witnessing today, may extend further towards 250 to 260, but major structure looks slightly on the negative side. So it is better to stay away taking any contra bet. Those who are already holding can keep a trading stop loss below 220 for the long position in Rupa. And for dollar industries, here as well, we can expect this pullback to extend towards 370 to 380. But better to book profit near 380 to 400 sort of zone, and avoid taking any sort of long position at current level.
Right. What's your view in terms of real estate players as well? Because there has been strength over the last 2 to 3 trading sessions with regards to the realty index. Are you expecting that strength to continue further? And if yes, what names would you recommend?
We have a slightly positive outlook on a couple of realty names. So I would like to start with Oberoi Realty, that's looking very strong on the chart. Although we are witnessing some sort of a consolidation in major of the realty players, but this particular counter has witnessed good amount of buying interest that is getting emerged near about 800 to 850 zone, and it is on the verge of a major breakout from its inverse head and shoulder pattern. The major neckline of this particular pattern is placed at 900, and post breakout we can expect further momentum towards 950 to 1000. So from a positional perspective, if somebody is looking to make a fresh entry in one or two realty counter, then Oberoi Realty will be a preferred bet, followed by DLF and Godrej Properties. As far as DLF is concerned, we have witnessed good base formation, and it looks resemble triple bottom sort of formation on the daily time frame. So keep a strict stop loss below 340, and at current level one can go long in DLF as well for the upside target of 375 to 380.
Right. From the auto pack, you have Ashok Leyland as well as the TVS Motors. What's your view on both these counters? Good bets to look at?
Certainly good bets to look at, but from current level, we can expect further decline. Looking at the outperformance that we have already seen in the counter TVS Motor, there are high possibility of some sort of a retracement from the high levels, and the stock may correct further towards 1040 to 1020 sort of zone. That particular level could be a good entry point. So ideal buying range would be 1000 to 1040, keeping stop loss below 960. Upside may extend further, may resume the uptrend towards 1100 to 1150 going forward.
Right. Nilesh, apart from the stocks that we've mentioned, any other counters that catch your eye from tomorrow's perspective that an investor should look at?
Right. So a couple of counters that are looking promising from a trading point of view. One that we have already highlighted, IDFC Limited. It is trading in a rising channel, and the risk and reward looking favorable at current level. So upside extend towards 80 to 82, and at current level one can initiate a long position with a stop loss below 76. The target is of 80 and 82. The second stock that we are liking is slightly from the defense space, Bharat Electric Limited. We have witnessed a good breakout on the early chart. Good open interest buildup can also be seen. So long side buildup can clearly visible on this particular counter. Upside may extend towards 100 to 101. Keep a stop loss below 95. So these are the two specific counters that we are expecting further follow-up buying in the coming sessions.
Right. So these are stocks one should be watching out for as well. Thank you, Nilesh, so much for joining us on the show and giving us those levels we should be watching out in terms of Nifty as well as Bank Nifty and the individual counters as well. Thank you. Stay safe and speak to you soon again.
Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. So overall, if you see in terms of Nifty as well, a good up move that's come in today and almost we did hit a high of around 17,467 in terms of Nifty 50, and slightly below the highs is what we are going to close at. 17,455 is the levels, 8 tenths to 9 tenths of a percent higher. Good support that came in from the banking names as well in today's day of trade. 4,700 is the level we're tracking in terms of Bank Nifty. So pretty much on the borderline in terms of the stiff resistance that we could be seeing. So 1.1% higher is what Bank Nifty is looking like. Overall, if you see even in terms of the Sensex, around 59,435. So below the 59,450 mark is what we would end at. I mean, a 500-point up move that we had already seen. We'll close with probably around a 475 kind of an up move in today's session. In terms of stock-specific action, overall, if you go to see the market breadth, the advance decline ratio was pretty much in favor of the advances in today's session. So was not letting the bears take the grip at all. And that's something which is going to be interesting to watch out for, whether we are able to continue that momentum in tomorrow's session. Stocks like Adani Enterprises, second consecutive day of strong gains coming in, around 15.5% is the kind of up move that we've seen. Hindalco, UPL, SBI, as well as Axis Bank as well on completion in terms of the Citibank transaction. The stock is up around 2.5%. In terms of losing counters, Britannia, Power Grid, Cipla, BPCL, as well as HDFC Bank. These have been few of the names which will be the top losers in terms of Nifty 50 overall. Looking at broader markets, some interesting moves that we saw, as we've already talking about the Innerwear companies as well. So the likes of Arupa, Dollar, as well as Lux Industries, a one-off move, but a strong up move that came in those counters. Uflex continues the upward momentum. You have Sonata Software, good moves coming in terms of Sonata Software as well over the last couple of trading sessions. Now, Opala was one of the top losers. Soba was under pressure. Brigade Enterprises from the real estate pack was under pressure, but real estate as a sector has been doing well. But overall, if you go to see an interesting day of trade that we witnessed, whether we are able to sustain this kind of up move in tomorrow's session is something that we need to watch out for. Stocks like a PVR, Cipla, Pyramid Enterprises, these are few names which actually hit a 52-week low in today's trading session, as well as companies like Equitas Small Finance Bank, Ion Exchange, Foseco, PG Electroplast were a few of the counters which actually hit a 52-week high as well. So overall, the momentum is there today. Whether it translates into an up move in tomorrow's session is going to be interesting. That's all that we have in this session. Thanks for watching and have a great evening.